Hi there and welcome. I'm Bruce. This is Speed and Color. On today's episode, I sit down for a conversation with a local builder. This guy is just the grassroots of custom motorcycles. He's not a big name. He's just a local guy who puts everything he's got into building choppers and bobbers. It's all old school stuff. It's so cool. And as I say, he's grassroots. He is down on the floor trying to hold things in place while he's welding them or bending them or doing whatever. I just love this guy and I love his passion. So join me as we sit down with Kirt, also known as Dirty Kirty, for a conversation about builds. So here we are for another episode of Speed and Color, and today I am super excited about this. I'm here with I'll say a new friend. We haven't been friends for a long time, but a new friend. Not sure what to call him yet, but I think I got it figured out. We got an awesome shop here. For those of you watching the video, I'm going to take a few shots and share this with you. What a place. It's just amazing. This guy is just over the top. Hardcore chopper kind of guy, home builder, does it all, super creative. I would say for sure he's an artist. I just love this guy. Kirt, Barry, Mohammed, my friend, welcome.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I will. You can see it in the one camera angle. We've got Kirt's bike behind him here. Beautiful piece, so much chrome. Just love that bike. We'll find out more about that in a minute. So anyway, and I have Harrison behind the scenes today, keeping an eye on cameras and sound and stuff like that for me. Harrison is going to be from time to time stepping out in front of the cameras, so you're going to get to see more of him and meet him. But for now, he's trying to keep all that sound stuff and everything in check for me. So that's pretty cool. So we'll get started. It's great to have you here with us. Glad you joined us. And we're going to turn it over to this man. I know Kirt is a private guy from talking to him. He doesn't share a whole bunch about his personal life. But I'm going to ask you, Kirt, to just share what you're comfortable with to give us an idea of who you are.
Well, Kirt, a.k.a. they call me Dirty Kirty. That's where you got the name Dirty Customs from. So pretty much it's just, the guys nicknamed me that a long time ago. It kind of stuck. So that's where that name came from. And like I said, depends on where I go. People know me as Barry or Kirt. So that's where I go by and stuff like that. And, this meeting, just meeting Bruce, it was just kind of an accidental stuff. I went out to the bike show out in the Harley Davidson, and that's where we met. And just sounded like just struck a friendship right there. It was just sort of that mutual thing, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you guys here with me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you and I talked about that we both have a common belief that things happen in life, we meet people in life, that it just seems like there's a reason it happened. You come across those people. We both agreed that you need to be open to that. It doesn't really work if you go looking for it or if you try and find it. It doesn't seem to work. But you need to be open to when it happens, to experiencing that, to feeling that connection. And I think we both felt that.
Definitely, and you nailed it. And sometimes when things are put out there, you don't really think about it, but it falls in your lap, and then it's there. And, you know, guys like yourself and, you know, myself and other people that you meet along the way, there's always a reason. And we spoke a lot in the garage and all that stuff. And it's like I've said, you know, I've got a lot of sayings that I say along the way. And things really does happen for you and not to you. And that's sort of like my motto where I go out, and it's like, it doesn't matter what walk of life, where you came from, or whatever. It's a universal vibration that's out there, especially in a biking community. You meet people and you just click. And sometimes you might meet someone, you know, you make a sort of a friendship, but then you meet other people and then there's a deep connection because you have so much that you can relate to.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
no, yeah,
And-
definitely.
And I love that you have quotes or
Yeah.
things that you say a lot that you use. I'm here to tell you that gets worse as you get older. Take it from me.
Okay.
And all you have to do is look at Joe Biden
Yeah.
and you'll realize that it gets really bad eventually. Yeah.
Oh man.
So there
Yeah.
you go.
I
go.
hear you.
One thing I was going to tell you before we get too far down
Right.
this road is I do have some questions
Yeah.
here because I just like to have something to talk about
Right,
if
definitely.
we're not talking about something.
Right.
But this is a casual conversation, and the folks who are listening and watching us, they want to hear from you.
Right.
And Kirt, if you got something to say, absolutely, just go with it. I'll get back to
Okay.
the questions
Sounds good.
later, but you can just take it in any direction you want, and
Sounds good.
I'll work with you, and I'm sure the people listening will enjoy it.
Right on.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah. The next thing I was going to talk to you about is so you're a man after my own heart. You're a garage builder. You build at home, and you are very much committed to. I know Kirt does his own fabrication in most cases. He welds, he paints, he's creative. You do wiring?
I do, yeah.
So this guy just loves doing it all, and you know, there's kind of that garage build hashtag, or built not bought, you know, is another common one that I like. So, you know, Kirt is very much that guy, and I wanted to ask you, where does that come from? Like, what happened that you just enjoy doing everything yourself?
Well, this goes back. So let me give you a little background on. I was born in Trinidad in the West Indies, and my uncle used to ride. I had my brother's friend used to ride, and he was older. They were a lot older, and I was into my bicycles and stuff. And my brother first bought a bicycle. It was called a chopper. Had the 8 hangers, had the shifty in the middle,
Yeah.
and with the banana seat and all of that stuff.
Banana seats,
Right.
love them.
And when he got that bike, I was like, man, this thing is cool. He was the man on the block with his bike. And you know, I was like, man, let me ride this thing. He's like, nah, you can't reach. I was like, nah, I gotta ride this bike. And you know, one day he wasn't home, and I jumped on our bike, and I started riding on a bike. You can hardly touch, and that was the beginning of my, bike, getting into motorbike. So it just ignited something, and that was it. And his friend at the time, he started chopping up. It was a Kawasaki. His name was Samson. And he was the bike. He was a big guy, long hair, young back in the day. I was like, man, these guys are cool. It was so cool. So that ignited where I started building my BMXs and all the rest of the stuff. And I started chopping up the bikes and taking this off, taking that off. And it was like, oh, this is not going to work. So it was always like, if you tell me no, I'm going to show you yes. So, and that's where it started, to be honest, going back into the history and stuff, and that's where I started, was the bicycles and hands-on stuff. You know, my attention span in school wasn't the greatest, but that's okay. You know, it was the hands-on, doing stuff that I was comfortable with. I was comfortable with that. If something was there, it was broken, I would take it apart. I wanted to see the mechanics of it. It was always like, I go back to the old boys that built stuff. Before there was a lot of technology, the guys that built the countries, North America and all that stuff. It was regular blue collar guys going in. How many times they tried it, didn't work, and they did it all over again. So
Right.
that's where it started for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, you've done, obviously, you've done very well for yourself. Have you always had the tools to be able to do what you want, or is that something that's developed in this later part of your life?
Yeah, that's exactly. You know, as time went on, you have your family. That takes a precedence over everything. So, had bikes, couldn't afford it, broke, sold them, taking care of the family, my kids. So that started, and all the tools and everything else came way down the line. Going back with the bikes, and you had your settling tank, and that was it. You welded with that, or you might weld with a stick machine and an old Lincoln,
Right.
just whatever,
Right.
So, and a lot of the things that I'm doing now, it's a lot of self-taught. I've got one tattoo that's self-made, and not to go above with that, but really a lot of stuff I've learned or friends or people along the way that I've been around with the biking, stuff, or guys I would call up and, hey, I'm working on this, I'm in a jam, what can you help me with? So, well, the tools and stuff, that came, wow. I'm going to say, I really started really enjoying this maybe like 15 years ago,
Right.
because then I had the tools and the means of putting stuff together.
Yes.
So yeah, so it came quite a bit because the said family was everything, and the kids in school and taking care of that. So my passion per se had to take a back burner.
Right.
So yeah.
So, for me, part of this podcast, part of the goal, the mission, I don't know what I'm doing here, but the podcast, I want to inspire people. I want to show people that you can do this, especially with motorcycles. Cars are tougher because they're big, they're awkward, all that stuff. But motorcycles, and you can pretty much build one in your living room if you have to.
Yeah.
You might want to check with the girlfriend or wife, but you can. And I guess I'm wondering, do you have a message for younger person, older person, regardless of gender?
Right.
I know for me, and I'll share, and this conversation isn't about me, but I'll share anyway. It was 42 years that I hadn't picked up a spray gun.
Right.
And I had cause building a bike to decide to pick up a spray gun again. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I have so much fun in the booth. My creativity comes out. I love color, all that stuff, the spraying, the technique. It's all just very satisfying. It's really, really good. And I want to share that with other people so that they're confident to go ahead and do it themselves, because it's great stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, from your work, from what I've seen, is amazing work. Your paint, the things that your bikes that you build is amazing. So, guys like yourself and the message for people, or the young people, it doesn't matter age, gender, as you said, it doesn't matter. If you want to build a bike, you're passionate about it, go ahead. It might take 5 years. Don't worry about the time frame.
Right.
But do what you want to do. That's your dream. If it's a Yamaha, if it's a Suzuki, if it's a Harley, it doesn't matter. If you're in the wind and you're riding, and that's your baby, if you want to call that, you go for that. It doesn't matter. If you put on one bolt in 1 hour or two, whatever, you are doing it. You are doing it with your hands. It's like, and again, as you said, my quotes, in order to paint a beautiful painting, it just takes one stroke of that brush at a time until you get the painting done. And then it's a masterpiece to your image and your likeness. So for anybody who's building anything or want to, don't hold back. Just do it. Do it.
Good advice.
Just
I love
do
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Right on. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. What did I want to talk to you about here? Yeah. So shifting gears a little bit
Yeah.
here, I keep looking, and I apologize. I'm absolutely riveted with looking over here under the lift
Right.
at all the machines. So I know that you have the Blazer. What is this?
This is a 74 Blazer. It's a factory convertible. Had this thing for a while, and with the rest of the projects, this is going to be done hopefully in probably the next 6 months. And
Okay.
it's been a good build.
But you have quite a collection of cars and trucks and motorcycles, and you're obviously passionate about all of it and enjoy all of it. But maybe just give us a little bit of insight as to part of the collection, your favorites in the collection, or just give us an idea of what's in the barn.
Well, as for favorites, it's like all your kids, you don't have a favorite, but I'm gonna give you the one that I got on top. This 64 Impala now, I had this for about 20 years plus, this vehicle. And the reason this one is so dear to me, it's the kids, we worked on this and we were sanding this, didn't know too much about painting and stuff, and we all worked on this on a family project. And this is the first thing I really kind of actually painted, and it was Enduro paint, which is industrial paint. And
Right.
I did that, and that was 20 years ago, and so that's gonna be the top of my list. But as far as the rest of the stuff on the bottom here, as you said, I'm an old chopper boy. I love choppers. It doesn't matter what make, model, whatever. If it's chop top and stretch, and as you said, I'm old school colors. When they say live life in color,
Yeah.
I do. I live life in color. I love the old school, the flakes and the psychedelic paint jobs and stuff, because it takes you back to an era where it was raw, and they had what they had and they worked with what they had. And I love that about the old school. That's why, all my shovels and my pans and stuff, it was an era where people rode across North America, not just Canada, the States and wherever else that choppers went, or the shovels and the pan. And and that's where this collection of mine came from, is going back, revisiting the past.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, and I'm looking at Instagram, and I see you and your buddies out on the highway, and there are so many guys on choppers who, document what they're doing, and you see them go out for rides, and they take the tent with them, and they strap it on the sissy bar, and they're broken down some, god-awful place, and
That's right.
there they are fixing a primary or a transmission or whatever they're doing, and and they love it. That's the cool thing, is you guys absolutely love the whole adventure.
Yeah, of course, and as you said, that's why it's called an adventure. If something doesn't break or something doesn't happen, there's no story to tell. There isn't a story. Like all the pioneers before us, and all the guys that's gonna come after us. There's a story behind every story.
Right.
So that's the beauty about being on the two wheels. And then on the process of being broken on the side of the road, it's sometimes one of the best friendships you can make with people around the world.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's
It's
cool.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't, because I've been on the roads. If you look at some of my Instagram, you'll see me on the side of the road fixing the chain, or the sprocket is busted out and everything else like that. Like last year back from Sturgis is busting back. I'm blowing up. I'll give you the story. Let me give you the story.
Sure, absolutely.
So so I left the boys, and you know, we all rode down and stuff, and I'm busting back. I was like, I'm coming back, man. I'm coming back by myself. I'm tired of, you know, I had enough. So I was with the diner, the gold diner. That's an '10. It's got Springer front end and all that. And I was riding. I had my hat. I picked up a hat in Sturgis, and so I'm busting back. I'm doing about 30 miles, and my hat blew off. And I was like, shit. I was like, man, I ain't got time for that hat. That's a cheap old hat. I'll get another one. And I was like, no, man, I love that hat. So I got back, and I'm coming off the freeway, and I stopped at the intersection to turn back to go get the hat, or go look for the hat. As I stopped at the intersection, I heard clink, clink, clink. Bah. Nothing. What the hell? I look back, and all the bolts in my pulley is busted loose. Busted loose. So by this hat blowing off my head just saved my life. It's my favorite hat. I stopped on the road, pushed the bike on the side. A couple guys stopped, a lady and a guy, they're like, you know, stopped. They're like, hey, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. They're like, what? I said, my bike is broken. They're like, okay, hang tight. We're gonna go back. They grabbed their trailer, got me. I was in, was it Billings? I can't remember exactly where I was. They went back, got the trailer, got me to a hotel. Got to the hotel. So the boys are coming up the next day. Call them up. I was like, where you at, man? I'm at the hotel. I'm broken down. They're like, we'll see you tomorrow. While we were there, everyone got together, pulled all the tools out, started working on the bike right there on the side, got it back together, and that was it.
Right.
But the stories, if you don't break down or you don't whatever, it's just a regular ride.
See, and what's so cool about you, and why I probably felt like this was a guy that I wanted to get to know, is there are people we encounter every day who would twist that story into a negative, terrible, oh my goodness, it was awful, had to do this. And you see nothing but positive in it. It saved my life. It's my favorite hat. Those people were so wonderful. They had a great trailer. All my buddies came out and drank beer. Like you know, Kirt can't see anything but the good in life, and I love that about him.
Yeah, you know, it's I don't know, man. Like as you said, life in itself is an adventure, and you can take it and go to the negative side, or you can take it and go to the positive side. I'm not saying there's days I'm not. I don't say I have a bad day. I say I have an off day. On an off day, there's so many people beyond us that have an actual bad day. So for me, as you said, a positive is always good. And again, my quotes. A battery has a negative and a positive. They both work together to give you juice.
There you go.
So that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I live life every day as an adventure. You know, it's like going into your book. If you go into your book and every day you get a new day, you got a new page to fill out. You got it's a new chapter. So you write it down. It doesn't matter what it is. So once you look back, you'll be like, oh man, I did all of that. Yeah. I did that. So that's how I live.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. What else are you working on these days?
Well, I've got a new bill. Kind of posted up some of the stuff, but I'm gonna post up a little bit of it. So this is a 1974. It's a original Santee frame, and they came up with that frame back in the day. And you can put a pan and a shovel, whatever is designed for that. But on the back of the frame, some guys call it a plunger, the A-man frame. They have different models of them. But this is an actual Santee frame. And I picked it up from a friend of mine his friend had that frame brand new from in '74, never did anything with it.
Right.
Unfortunately, he died and left it to his wife. And then I found it. I found it in a swap meet, and it was there, but nobody wanted the frame because these frames apparently. I've never ridden in the Santee frames with a spring in the back, so they say on the back end it kind of gives you a little bit of a tweak in there. But I've got my ways. I'm gonna fix that. But long story short, I told them in the swap meet, if no one buys this frame, let me know. So with my luck, it came to me. They're like, hey, nobody bought the frame. If you want to come and get it. I said, you know what? I'm gonna build the next bike. So this bike is gonna be a radical build. I know it's gonna be one of my best work to date. That thing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my next build for 2024.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's in the making.
So I've been watching your posts, and you've talked to me about this bike, and I just learned a little more about
Right.
the frame, and so we've got a lot of stuff going on there. This bike, Kirt, seems like it's very special to you. You've told me about the front end and the connection to your friend Sugar Bear, who I'd like you to tell us more about. But there seems to be an importance to this build. What's going on there?
Well, like I said, this, like a lot of the builds that I've built in the past, in my mind when I start building something, it's here, which is in any projects, right? But with this project, it was, I met Sugar Bear in Stages years ago, and so we started talking about stuff and whatever, and I'd met him, but I didn't want to push it too much. I wanted to get a front end from Sugar Bear because going back into Sugar Bear, and again, has nothing to do with race or culture, whatever. But he was one of the pioneers, black builders back in the day.
Right.
So while growing up, you see all these guys, and they were putting out, their work was so, for me, it was far ahead of time. To build a long stretched out front end and going down, and it was handled like nobody's business. And you see these older guys. So going back with the Sugar Bear story, so I met him and whatever, and so I'm building up the courage because it's a waiting list to get a front end. It's a long list because if you look at Sugar Bear and you look and you go back to the history, it's a lot of celebrities. They want the front end, and there's a waiting time and all of that stuff. So we started just chatting out the conversation, and I was like, man, like everything else, I've got one shot. The most he can say is no. He's not gonna do it. I was like, and I said, Bear, I said, what are the chances of you doing a Springer front end for me, man? I was like, you're my idol, blah, 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 and, we chatted. He's like, I don't know if I want to do any more and whatever. So we chatted some more, and I was like, so that's it. I can't. He's like, here's what. If you get $1,500 from me today, now, in Sturgis, we were at his place, okay? It's called BS Flat. He's building a museum out there, and I was out there. He said, if you get $1,500 from me today, as a down payment, I'll build you a front end. I was like, start the truck, let's go. I jumped on, I got down there, went to the bank, went to Wells Fargo, my bank, I pulled out money, $1,500, so I left him. So he didn't think I was serious. I came back about an hour later, and the guys who was building, because they're building the sheds and stuff, and he's like, oh, Bear's not here. I was like, oh, man, God. I was like, damn. The guy goes, just hang around, he's going to come back. He got back, and I said, Bear, I got the money. He's like, you serious? I said, yeah. I said, are you serious? He's like, okay. And I bought, let me get this, And I went down and I got me a receipt book. And I was like, I got to document this because You know, he's an older guy, and then
Nice.
sugar beer, phone number, $1,500. And that was it. That was it. And that was the end of that. And you know, I'm still to this day I'm still shocked because it should be. This guy is a legend. They were doing this back in the '60s.
Right.
You know, and they were piecing stuff together. So with this document alone, with him signing that, is worth $1,500 to me. Because it's just that important, right?
Yeah.
And you know, every time I go down, and you know, every year it's just to go down his place, and he's building it and everything else. But he's such a down-to-earth gentleman. You know, somebody of his stature and what he does and whatever. If you go there, he would talk to you, talk about bikes and everything else. So yeah, so that's why this bike, it means a lot. It means a lot. Just putting those pieces together, because again, it's history. It's history.
Yeah.
You know, 1974 to now. I don't know how many years that's 40 something years. I can't remember. 40. Oh,
It's
plus,
big,
right?
yeah.
So a frame that's never been touched, it never had a bearing on the neck. This is a brand new frame from '74. It's never, and the guys who I got it from, they can back it up. There was never even a bearing in the neck.
Wow.
So that's where it's so, and it's different. The plunger frame, a lot of people, they are not into that. They'll do a hardtail and whatever. But the Bill, I call it the unicorn.
Yeah.
It's something different. And the motor that's going in there is yet to be seen.
And you're not giving it away, are you? No.
That one, you might get a glimpse. You might get a glimpse. You might get a peek at it. But yeah, and that's why that bike means a lot to me. And some of the designs with the coffin tank and all that. The tank I got from Brent from Precision, which you know Brent.
Yes.
And again, the tank, he had that tank going into the tank. And at the time, he's like, I don't want to sell this tank. I was like, Brent, I'm doing this build. It's for me. It's not. Because, you know, I hit the swap meets. I buy and sell stuff to fund my projects. And I said, this is for me. Because Brent had that tank from back in the day.
Right.
And you know, we struck up a deal and everything else. And I got the tank home. And I did a video. And I was like, Brent, you sold me a piece of crap. You know, I was joking around because I'm always busting him up. And when I got the tank and I set it on the frame, I was like, this is it. This is a tank.
Right.
And I had to dig deep to what I want to do with this coffin tank. And that's why I made that indentation. So it's a coffin in a coffin.
Yes.
So that's,
yeah, and you've got some special work going on there.
Yeah.
I saw your post the other day, and you know, your creativity, I'm amazed at what you're coming up with there, and really looking forward to seeing how this turns out.
Yeah, me too.
That's great. About the front end, I wanted to ask you too. You said it is a Springer?
It's a Springer.
So it's not a girder, it's a Springer.
It's a Springer. It is his design.
And Sugar Bear he's always done primarily Springers?
That's his forte. But his Springers are like they're super long Springer front ends. They really raked out because, you know, back then they were really chopping it up where it was long front end. And, you know, he has a saying, what does he say? If it's not long, it's not right. Something like that. I can't remember the saying. But everyone wants to, they gotta have his front end. Because my buddy that I got off the phone when I was in the phone prior with Detroit, he has a bike and it's called Pinkalicious. It's a long stretched out bike. But the beauty about that bike is when you get on there, when you get on the bike and you turn the bike, it's a long front end, but if you do this,
you were saying that it's amazing how easy it turns.
It's super easy, smooth, and it rides like nobody's business. It's going to take a long radius turn to get it, but it's amazing. It's an amazing bike, you know.
Cool.
His front ends is really, it's far to none that's been built. And again, once you jump on there, all the celebrities, everyone wants that front end, and there's a waiting list. So I was fortunate, lucky.
Now, you said, too, that he's going to do something special on this one for you?
Yeah.
And what is that?
He's going to engrave on the rockers on the bottom, because he has a design with the rockers, so he's engraving his name and his initial and all that stuff, which he hasn't done.
Cool.
So, and again, while you were here, I gave him a call, and he's probably busy, because prior to this, he had damaged his shoulder. So it's going in about 3 years I've been waiting. So what had happened, he had damaged his shoulder, and that kind of set him back a bit on his build. So, and he's up there in age now and everything else. So it's just a matter of time once he gets his shoulder all taken care of. And he said it started whatever. So, and again, I'm just waiting for that, because once that front end is here, that's a game changer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
And what's the deal on the seat? You made special mention of the seat, too.
Again, this seat, and you can grab that seat at any point in time. That seat came from Sturgis. That's a brand new, back in the day seat that's never been installed.
And it's a king queen, right?
It's a king queen, but it's not a standard straight king queen. Because if you look at a lot of the king queens, like if you look at the designs, usually it's more upright. This came factory with a laid back.
Okay.
So it's laid back in an angle, I don't know, 30, 40 degree, maybe a little bit. It's laid back, and it came like that. So that's why I love the seat, because again, it's period correct to the 70s. So the seat is correct, the pan is correct, the gas tank, the Invader wheels. That's why I wanted to run the Invaders, because they are period correct to the back in the day, where the back wheel is a drum setup and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I'm trying to put the bike period correct, except the engine is going to be way back. That's all I'm going to give you. The engine is not from the 70s. It's way back. And I could put a 70s, and I thought about it. I thought about doing like a 70, because the frame was a 74. And Shovel came out with a 74 cubic engine back in 74. It's a very rare, the shovels. And I thought about, should I do a shovel? But then I got a shovels. I got pans. So this one is going back a little bit further. That's all I'm going to tell you about that engine.
Well, that's okay, because Harleys are kind of timeless
Right,
anyway.
exactly.
So yeah, it'll work.
So it's going to be, one after one with that. This is going to be one of my most. The build I'm doing with this is challenging me to go on a whole different level.
Right.
Right. Which you've seen, I've done stuff and everything else I've done, but this is putting me up on a different level of creativity, just to think more.
Yeah.
So I'm just coming there, and as I said to you, what I would like from you, and I'm saying because I would like to get some of your pinstriping on that coffin tank. So if that's something that we can,
we'll see what we can do.
There we go.
We'll definitely get together.
Perfect.
On it.
That's what I
for
want.
sure.
Definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I need your signature on that bike.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So tell me something, because again, this conversation is not about me, but having just finished the Sportster this year, that bike is a bit of a legacy bike for me.
Right.
The story behind it, Karen bought it for me. I've stayed true to the way the bike was, but refined it, done some of that stuff. But men have this thing where we get to an age and we start thinking about what it is that we're leaving behind.
Right.
And not in material things
Right.
necessarily, but what's our fingerprint on the world?
Right.
What have we done? And I know for me, the garage, the time, the creativity, the building. I built the bike for Tracy, our daughter-in-law. Now this one, this is really a legacy piece
Right.
that will go on. This bike will never be sold.
Right.
It will be left to
Right.
somebody. Is this build a little bit like that for you?
It is because my son, my son is 25, and believe it or not, I kind of shunned him away from the bike stuff for a reason. You know, my kids, I'm so protective of them. So it was always like, no, don't get into the bike too much. This lifestyle is kind of let it, whatever. Now, as he's coming into his own, that's where this bike is leading towards, because I want him to enjoy the biking side of this
Right.
on a different level, because now it's a different time for them, but I want him to understand what dad did and what I accomplished,
Right.
and where it could go and where it's gonna go. And now, as you said, that legacy now is passing on that torch. Here you go, right?
Right.
Let's do this. And when you say legacy, it's not just your legacy of your friends or I mean your kids or whatever, but it's the people that you help along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the people, as you said, it's that one person. I always said, someone, in Detroit, I was there and I got a picture, and this little boy came up, and he's looking at the bike, and he went to touch the bike, and his dad said, "Don't touch it." I said, "Nah." I grabbed him and I set him on the bike,
Right.
and I said, "You put your foot up. I don't care," because that little boy, he was 9 or something like that. He's gonna remember that.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
where those things matter to me, because if you can impact 1 or 2 people along the way, that's part of your
And you
legacy.
never know where that's going.
There you go.
You won't be here to know where
That's it.
it could have gone. Yeah.
And that's where it all started. It started from me looking at the old guys and seeing that, or looking at Engine Larry. Because like I said, those guys, and there's so many builders around the world that it's not recognized, but they're badass builders.
Right.
So, and someone saw that, and they, as I said, imitation is the best way of flattery, right?
Yes.
So at some point, there's something that we picked up along the way, building bikes, or whatever you're doing, you saw it from someone, a magazine or something. So
Yeah.
my legacy is really to let people see my work, and if they can pick up something small, I'm okay with that.
Cool. I have a question
Yeah.
for you, but I'm going to change a battery
Okay,
real
sounds good.
quick, and we'll come back right away. Sorry, quick pit stop to change the battery there. So I did have one more question about what Kirt was just talking about, and that is, I understand you wanted to, steer your son away from this,
Yeah.
and I kind of get that, but now you're going to jump in and equip him with a plunger back end and a long Springer front
yeah.
end. Boy, there's no middle ground
No,
with you, is there?
No, you gotta jump straight into the fire.
Right.
You're gonna get in there, and that's the beauty. And like as I said, I always go back to what makes another guy different or better from you on your abilities. It's just a matter of time and how much effort you put into something.
Right.
So it's like you building your projects and everything else, and you doing it. As I say, like my son, he's out here. He helps me. He comes out, and okay, you got to learn how to weld and everything. As I said, a lot of the stuff is self-taught. So, which we spoke about. I bought a TIG machine. I've never done TIG in my life. So going into that, I just okay, let me use this TIG and whatever. So everything else is the same. I kind of teach my son the same way. This is a trial and error, like everybody else who have done it in the past.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn. That's how
Absolutely.
in the excitement of learning something. And when you do something, like when you first welded and you put down this beautiful bead, or you did your pinstripe, and how many times you did a pinstripe before you got it perfect, or you didn't like it, or whatever.
It's never perfect.
Right, exactly, right? So especially guys like you and me,
Yeah.
we strive on things like that. It's
Yes.
like, okay, I'll paint. This bike was painted 10 times.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, sir. I painted this bike 10 times. Didn't like the color. Sanded it, resanded it, repainted it, redid everything. Don't like it. Don't like it. It wasn't, because when I'm building, and things it has to pop. It has to speak to me. When I'm happy, if I'm sleeping good at night, then I know I'm okay.
Right.
So
But you don't sleep good at night very often.
well, that's true
But
too.
we'll go into that another time.
You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. That ain't no joke.
You and I are both at that vintage
Yeah.
where we lay awake and eventually get off your rear end and go do something because there's no point in laying there awake.
Exactly. You're like, oh no, now I'll fall back. No, I'll fall back. An hour goes by. If I did the tank like this, it'd be okay. Oh, that tank is dry now. I can sand it down. I can go out there. And then I said, you get in here, and yeah, it's just.
Yeah. I love it. Karen will say to me, she'll say, you weren't sleeping last night. What were you working on? Right? And
Yeah.
up here, I'm fixing this, fixing
Definitely.
that, coming up with the next thing.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, hey, tell me, selfishly, I want to know a little bit about your future because, you have commented to me that you need to ride.
Yeah.
You kind of get depressed.
Yeah.
We're living here in Canada, and we have Canadian winters, and it's a great build season, but it's a terrible ride season. So, and again, I'm going to say, living in Canada is fantastic.
Yeah,
we got a
definitely.
great country. We got all kinds of cool stuff,
Yeah.
employment opportunities, universal health care, good. Life is really good. But we have to put up with that cold. So you departed for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Did you get some riding in?
No, I didn't get any
You
riding
didn't
this
get
time.
any
No, I didn't get
riding
any
in.
riding this time. It was such. I went out to Milwaukee, had some stuff to do, and the weather actually in Milwaukee was pretty close to here. It was cold. We got some rain and everything else, so it wasn't too much riding. But tomorrow I'm heading off to Texas, so I'm going
Okay.
back. I'm going back. One of my homes. So I'm going back to Texas. While I'm down there, we're gonna be riding, and down there I've got a buddy of mine. He wants me to do some painting for him, so I might do a paint job while I'm out there too.
Okay.
So go for it. As you said, Canada is an amazing country, great country. We've got everything here we could possibly need, but the cold, which I can go a couple months, but riding to me, and most riders, which is like yourself, or people that, it is my addiction. It is my addiction. I have to ride.
Right.
If I'm not riding, I get into a state of mind that it's not good for me. Because like I said, being on my bike is a home that I live in. When I get on that bike, everything else just kind of diminish behind me. It blows. It really does. And you would hear that with a lot of bikers, but for me, man, it's just the fresh air, the smell, you're
Right.
cruising. As much as you get there and then you cruising and you got your foot up and somebody just drives by and they're like, it's that joy that this is your work and it's out there and you're riding. And so that's in my future. I'm going back down to Texas, buy me another house, and store a couple of the bikes out there. And when it's cold, I'm back and forth. I'll be back and forth, but I'll get down there and do my riding, get my fix, come back. So that's.
But we're going to get to keep you around for a
Oh
while.
yeah,
Yeah, you're going to be
definitely.
coming back.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
You're
Like
not
I
leaving
said,
us?
Calgary's home also. Love Calgary, love Alberta. As you said, Canada in the whole. I've been back and forth now in Canada now for about I'm gonna say 30 years, man. Yeah, from Texas and Canada and stuff, back and forth,
Right.
and I'd moved back here in 2015 and back and forth. So now the bug is biting me a little bit again.
Well, I will give you a heads up
Yeah.
about winter. it seems that every year it gets about 5 degrees colder and about 2 weeks longer. So I'm getting really tired of it now. But yeah, I don't have the same option.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yes, you do. All you got to
Well,
do.
we bought a timeshare in Vegas,
No, forget
so
the
I do get a
timeshare.
couple weeks in Vegas.
All you got to do, hey, Kurt, I'm coming to Texas. And I'll be like, Bruce, there's a bike waiting for you. That's it. Finish.
Okay, you all heard this.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, he's locked in now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's we've got I've got a bunch of buddies out there, really solid, good guys. And like as I said, right now if we go down, somebody's gonna give you a bike to ride. That's it.
Cool.
That's what we do. It doesn't matter. So
I would love to meet them.
you will meet them.
It would be a good time.
You will meet them. Like
Okay,
I said,
we're going to do that.
we'll put that. I'm gonna shake your hand, and you better come out there.
Where's that receipt book?
But that- yeah,
I'll give you $10.
You gotta write it down in there. Right.
Oh, very good. Very good. So we talked about that. I just want to see if there was anything else that we really needed to talk about here. Oh, yeah. Sturgis. So, young Harrison here did some research on you.
Okay.
You've been to Sturgis a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Pretty special.
You know, it's for every biker or everyone who rides a bike. I always say there's certain places you need to go, and that's one place you have to go to experience it. There's so many bikes. You get out there, different builders and everything else. You go to the different shows, and people come from all over. Like when we were out there, and this year we were out there, and some guys came from Japan, and you should have seen the bikes these guys brought over. So Sturgis being out there, whether you ride, trailer, whatever. Some guys, they're like, whatever the trailer, that's a whole different ballgame. But people do it. But do it. Get out there. Experience it, have fun. Every bucket list things you want to do as a biker, or if you're not even a biker and you want to just go down and experience it, do it. Those are the things that I do now that I'm older and I can afford things to get to where I need to go. I do it. Again, my quotes, there's no rewind, there's no going back. There's only going forward to what you want to do.
Right.
Your dreams. If you limit yourself, you have limitation. So for me, I just set goals and I manifest it. I put it out there in the universe. And it works for me. And I tell people that the same thing. It can work for you. Don't hold back. Don't say no. Don't say I can't. I choose my words wisely. What I use, which we've talked about, and I put everything out in the universe, and it just falls in my lap. It really does.
Nice.
Yeah, it really does. Don't ask me how it works, but Sturgis is a must. Daytona is a must. And there's lots of places all over that you need to go.
Born Free,
Yeah,
Lone
Born
Star
Free,
Rally.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you done the Lone
Like,
Star Rally being from Texas?
I've been out there. I haven't ridden out there.
Okay.
And and for me, I do everything. It's like when I'm going down out of Texas, there's a swap meet that I used to go every year. It's one of the biggest swap meets because I love swap meets. And there's where you find all the goodies.
Right.
So I'm going on there with an intention. I've got a lead on a motor out here in Canada, but it's kind of pricey. So my goal is to find this motor out there, and with the conversion and everything else still. But I'm hoping to get one. But I got the backup here. It's here. It's basically a deal where I got a closer deal with the dude, because the motor itself you can probably buy like 2 bikes.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So,
But from what I've heard from your buddy Brent, if anybody can pull it off, you can. You're quite a wheeler dealer. You've got a reputation,
I manifest. Okay, if you want to say I'm a wheeler dealer, you know what? I've got a way I got away with my words, and I do when I'm trying to close a deal. I really do. People always say, "Man, you got a horseshoe up your ass." I said, "No, man, I've got the entire horse up my ass. I really do because it falls in my lap. It does." And but I'm really trying to close this deal, and that's the motor that's going into this thing, and it's really going to be the gem of the. It's a jewelry that, and I'm going all out. It's going to be fully chrome because you can tell I love chrome.
You appear to love chrome. Yes.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I love chrome. I love a nice paint job. But when you look at the rest of the bike, it's jewelry, right?
Well, and the two work together.
Yeah.
Right? The paint job and the chrome,
Yeah.
it's just
So,
they go hand in hand.
I posted some stuff up, and then you gave me some pointers too with the frame, and that's where I was leaning towards, and then you said, yeah, okay, go with the full purple and stuff, and I've got a name for this bike already, so it's already picked out, but it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to talk more about the frame too. I think some molding and stuff there.
Yeah.
Maybe I can even help you with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm not sure if we're gonna stretch the neck and lay it back a little bit yet. So we might.
Well, I've got the frame jig there too.
Yeah,
So
so-
do you have a frame jig?
No, I don't.
See, I can help you out with
Well,
that.
there you go.
Look at you manifesting
You
again.
see, I just manifested something. I was like, you know what? I need to lay it back a little bit. And that's the funny thing is, a lot of the bills, I would chop the neck, and I'll put my angle finder, and again, it works. I just set it up, no jigs, no nothing.
Yeah.
Bam, weld it, tack it, put it on. I'm done. I'm dead serious. All the things I do is pretty much by measurement, but it's by sight. Okay, this is what I like. Okay, this is the angle. I'm good. Okay, it's fine. Welded. Let's go. And it works.
Yeah.
Maybe I am, lucky, but it works. And all the stuff that I do, I just make it
Oh, I have
work.
no doubt that you're lucky.
But it works. This bike, and everything else, and this bike, again, I bought it from a buddy of mine, an older gentleman, Phil, but it looked nothing like this, and it was, whatever, and the motor and stuff, I had to go through the motor and all of that, and did all that, went through the, the transmission, complete front end. Everything was changed again, right?
Right.
And he had got to the point that it's like, man, this is just too much, right? And then I did everything else, and I was like, okay, let's do this.
Don't you love building motors?
Oh man, I
love engines.
I love everything about everything I do.
Yeah.
But the beauty is like when you build your motor, you time it, and you like, time that properly? Did I get? Okay, let's give it a fire. And you get that first sputter, and you kick it or whatever, and I'm almost there. Did I time that correct? Okay, let's do it again. And then she fires off, she busts off. You're like, yes! It's so gratifying to get it, to where it is. And again, I do reach out to people. I've got like Kenny, ill-fated. I've got, Brent. I've got Brent there over at Precision. I got them boys over Longview that way down there, Motorrad.
Yeah.
So I've got a arsenal of good people. Mike and all those guys, So if I do run into a problem, and again, I don't know. One of the things that I built and I've done, and like as I tell people, I'm this old school. Most of the stuff is black and white. This, you can tell how dirty it is. And this is my Bibles, right? Before it was internet and all that stuff. So that's how I built my bikes and stuff, right? So. Yeah.
Awesome. Good conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think we're going to bring it, closer to a close.
Okay.
So you probably, have you watched one of our videos yet?
No, I haven't.
Podcast?
I haven't listened to one of the
There's only been a couple,
Okay,
so it's okay. But we do something called the rapid fire round.
Okay.
And it's just some very simple questions, yes, no, or kind of a one-word answer.
Right.
and it's just to find out a little bit more about how Kirt thinks,
Okay.
you know,
Okay,
that
sounds
kind
good.
of thing. And sometimes it stimulates a little conversation.
Okay.
And yeah, so
Okay.
we'll give it a shot and
All
see
right.
what happens. And I don't memorize these
Oh, you
before we
don't?
do
Oh,
this.
really? Are you
So
sure now?
I do have to
Okay.
reference what I have here. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah,
Matt?
I wanted to ask you a question.
Fire away.
You being, and it's a two-part question. I've got two parts. I'm gonna go with what, as you being an older guy, been around, and you build your stuff, you build top shelf bikes. What advice you have for me to give me?
So, the advice I would give you is advice that I give fairly often, and that is the three most important things about a build: detail, detail, detail. Just never be, you know, it was like you saying, jump in,
Yeah.
do it, take it on.
Yeah.
If you're not happy, that's okay.
Yeah.
Get happy.
Yeah.
Take it that step further. The 10 paint jobs
Yeah.
tells me that you already have a pretty good idea about detail, and detail. But you know, the only way that paint gets better, that chrome gets shinier, aluminum gets shinier, whatever, is just stay at it and make it right. It
Right.
makes such a difference in
Definitely.
the end result.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one question.
That's one question. What got you into going forward with the podcast and everything else that you are putting out there?
What motivates me
Yeah.
for this? The community. I love the people that we associate with,
Right.
and they're such good people in this. I love the building. It's all really good stuff. The motorcycle community is good. The vibe is good. I get to deal with young guys and guys closer to my own age. It's really a lot of fun. And again, that big drive to help people understand, maybe give some guidance on technical kind of stuff with some of our guests, but mainly that inspiration.
Right on.
Because, I see how much fun you're having. I know how much fun I'm having. Young Harrison and his wife here, they are having so much fun with motorcycles.
Right on.
It's, if I wish more and more people could experience that
Yeah.
and could enjoy that. And just the art, the creativity. Man, get artistic, get creative.
Yeah.
We all have stuff going on in here. Learn how to get it out through these.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's,
Right on.
if I can assist that, that's why I'm doing
Right
this.
on. Love it. Love it.
You
Love
okay
it.
with that?
Yes, sir.
Good,
do.
thank you, and thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Hey, hard copy or digital?
I'm a hard copy man.
There you go. I kind of figured you would be. Olives on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Apes or T-bars?
Oh man, you gotta have apes. You gotta have apes. Okay, so now we're going into this question. Do you know why the apes, or what is the background behind ape hangers? No?
No.
Okay. So, per se, don't know the full background, but it said in World War II, apes in the military, what they were doing, the guys, they would string the barbed wires across the route. So while they were riding, it would hit them on the neck or here. So they started coming out with bars up higher, so when they were riding, it would hit and not hit them and take them off their bikes. That's the history, not 100%, but most of it, that's where ape hangers came from, and a lot of people don't know that history. So
That is very cool. That's a great explanation. I like that. Favorite movie?
woo! Ooh, Anthony Hopkins, Indian motorcycle.
Ah, okay, good, good. East Coast or West Coast?
Whoa! Canada or the U.S.? Canada
Your
West.
choice. Your choice.
Canada West.
Yeah?
States. Oh, I'm a Texas boy. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, you gave us an answer, so you're good. Favorite milkshake flavor?
Wow. I'm a traditional kind of guy. Strawberry.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Virtue or sin?
Now you're giving me a loaded question.
Yes, I am.
I'm gonna go with both. I'm not gonna give you one answer.
Okay.
I'm saying both.
That's not really the way this works,
Yeah,
but
but
we'll.
you know I'm not really the regular.
I'm not gonna fight you
Yeah,
over
you
it
know.
either. You spend some time at the gym. I'm not gonna fight you over it. Metal flake or pearl?
Ooh, metal flake.
Metal
Old school.
flake. Sweet or spicy?
Sweet and spicy. Best of both
Here we go.
worlds.
Both again.
Yeah, you gotta
Both
have the
again.
best of both worlds. That is where you get that mix of everything. That's like a paint job. If you lay down a regular paint job and don't put that flake, it's just a regular paint job. So that's a bit of both. That's sweet and spicy. That's it.
So which superpower would you rather have? Invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Super strength.
Bend my handlebars and exhaust.
So describe your style in one word.
Unique.
All right. And finally, country or rock?
I'm a country boy.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's why you put Jimi Hendrix behind us there.
But if I had to, I'm a both. I love my rock, but I love country. My dad, I grew up with my dad, listening to the Jim Reed and all that stuff, whatever. But I love certain rock groups, not every single, you know. And again, when you look at Jimmy, unique, different. I like things that's different. I like people that are different. I like people that's in their own lane. That's why when you look at Indian Larry, he had his own style.
Right.
Didn't really care. He wasn't into what was the new fad that came out of the chop. Oh, I'm gonna do. No, he just stuck to what he loved. That's what I love. That's, you know, and that's basically the way I build my bikes. That old tan diner, you look at it, it has a king and queen seat, has fishtails, has a Springer front end. It's an old tan, but then it has a traditional look. And
Right.
you know, I could have left it the way it is. So, like again, I like things that is different. You know, I like unique stuff. Anything unique, I'm in. I'm in.
Right on. My friend, you are unique, and I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you so much, and it's a pleasure. And thank you, Harrison. I appreciate you behind the scenes, because you're doing it, and we appreciate you. Without you, this is not possible, so thank you.
And for all of you, we appreciate you, the viewers, the listeners. If you're watching us, don't forget you can get us on your favorite podcast platform. If you're listening to us, we're also on YouTube. Full videos there, so you can join us there as well when you have the time. Thanks everybody for being here. It's been great. We'll see you again soon.
Wow, that was wicked.
So what'd you think?
I love it.
That was art. I just
I
have
love
to
it.
say, that was art.